Plagiarism is taking someone else's work, someone else's idea, someone else's journal, someone else's article, someone else's book, someone else's paper, whatever it is, and call it your own without making reference to them. It is not like the people do not want your work to be used. I mean, when you go and write a paper, you want people to read it. You want people to get the idea you're trying to pass across. But should somebody else want to use your idea and not give you reference and not say, oh, this is owned by this and owned by that, for example. If I were to be an author and I write a book, I want people to read it and I want people to recreate my work. But while you're recreating my work, I want you to make reference to me and say, I did it. I am actually the original author and not you. You are only sharing from my ideas. Today's video, I want to talk about the practical ways that you can run away from being caught in the web of plagiarism. Plagiarism is a nightmare of every student, particularly international students. I don't know where you're coming from or where you're watching this video from, but I came from Nigeria. Even though we knew about referencing, but they were not so big on it. I think the only time I actually referenced was in my dissertation, what we call project in Nigeria. That was the only time I actually referenced the work of another person. During my class assessment and classwork, I can't remember having to ever cite a person or reference the work. In the UK and other parts of the Western world, referencing and citing a person's work is very important. Now, there are 4 major lists of referencing style that is used globally: MLA, APA, Harvard, and MHRA. Now, let's look at what this acronym stands for. Now, the MLA means Modern Languages Association, while the APA means the American Psychological Association. You have the Harvard and, of course, MHRA, which means Modern Humanities Research Association System. So these are the 4 major ones where no matter the course of study, it has to fall under each of this. If you're studying humanities, if you're studying language and art, you would be required to cite and reference using the MLA system. If you're studying psychology, science, you will be required to use the APA. Now, if you're studying modern languages, humanities, of course, you'll be required to use the MHRA. So if you're studying anthropology, business, economics, and social policy, you will be required to use the Harvard referencing style, or the Harvard referencing system. Okay, so, and then you have Chicago and the Vancouver. So what happens is, every time when you come in to study any course, your department will definitely outline the referencing style they expect you to reference with. That is how you ought to present your referencing. When I came in to study psychology at the University of Chester in 2021, we were told to reference using APA, which is the American Psychological Association referencing style. Now, before I came in, I was told in 2020 they were using the 6th edition. As of 2021, they had moved to use the 7th edition. So your university will outline all of this for you, and you usually will have this in the university handbook or your course handbook. Every information you need is usually on your course handbook. But whereby you haven't gotten hold of the handbook or you just don't think it's necessary to go through, watch this video, okay? So to make this very easy for you, if you go to Google Scholar, by the way, Google Scholar is fantastic. It just makes the job easier for you, okay? Google Scholar actually made my studying easier. When I want to check out an article, I want to read a paper or a journal, I just take the topic, even if I see it on any of the platforms like Science Direct, if I see it on PubMed, I would take the topic, the title, take it to Google Scholar, type it there. Why? Because Google Scholar already helped me have a pre-arranged referencing, so I don't need to struggle. And another thing I do is, if I'm working to write an assessment, let's say I'm writing it on Word or the Microsoft Word, I would open another Word document and usually just dump all my references there. What I see a lot of people do, they use EndNote. I never got to use EndNote, thanks to God. I think it's slow. So I open another Word document and I just take all my references there. APA what we were expected to do was to reference alphabetically. So from A to Z, okay, in ascending order, not a descending order. So from A down to Z. So what I did is, if the referencing starts with, let's say, letter B, I'll put it there. If another one I have come with letter C, I put it under the C. I put it on the B, sorry. If I have an author whose name starts with letter F, I take it down. So you see, I take it to that same Word document so that I don't start looking for the list of my references. This really worked for me, and I hope it will work for you too. So if you're working on an article, if you're working on an assessment, so you don't have your references hanging everywhere, make sure as you're seeing the article, you like the idea, take the reference, which I'm going to show you now on Google Scholar, and then go and put it in the separate Word document and begin to arrange as you go. That way, you have less work at the end while you're proofreading and just trying to do general overview of your work. All right, so now I've opened an article on Google Scholar, and the topic I put on there was women's birth experiences. Now, this is related to my final dissertation. Okay, so I still have it on that there. Now, the first one here says giving birth in a pandemic. Now, if you look at it, if you're using a computer, you have all of the options underneath showing, but if you're using your mobile phone, you will see, I'm looking at my mobile phone now, and it says cited by, list of people have cited it. So you see there's related articles. Now, if you look at after the related articles, you see there are two arrows pointing that way. When you click on that arrow, you will see all of the options. And then you go back and see cite, C-I-T-E. Now, the site, you will click on it. When you click on sites, it will bring all of the options for you from MLA, APA, Chicago, Harvard, Vancouver. MHRA is not here, but I believe that most of the time, the course of study would either fall into any of this. And again, Google is so updated that they only project the latest edition. So the APA here is the 7th edition, which is what is required for anybody studying psychology, science, and all of that to use right now. Okay, so if you're doing, if your course of study falls under language and art, humanities, you'll be required to use the MLA, and Google has it here. So you see, all you need to do is already cite reference for you. Now, all of these names started with A. So A is the first in the alphabet. In the line of the A is the first alphabet. You would click on any of them. Just click and copy. Once you copy, you go and paste it. Control C on your computer and Control S on the separate Word document that I've advised that you open. So anytime you're working on an assessment, open a separate Word document. It will help you organize your list of references so you don't need to start looking for and just going round and round. When I started, it wasn't like that. I used to where did I keep that reference? Where did I keep that? Until God, the Holy Spirit helped me to understand this. And through my darling friend Chubi, she helped me. She pointed this out to me. Thank you again, darling Chubi. She pointed it to me, and since then, my life changed. It changed my assessments and the time and all of that. Okay, so you see there is endnotes underneath. There's VVIP'S, there's endnote, there's refman, there's refwork. If you prefer endnotes, please go ahead with it, okay? I'm just telling you what worked for me. I hope it works for you too. So you see, so do this for every article. If you see something in APA, which is the American Psychological Society, hardly will APA give you access. So some of the search engines like Science Direct, PubMed, they usually will require access. Then you have the sweet ones like Taylor, T and F online. What's the other one I really like? I hated APA because they would just give you the abstract and never allow you access. I always looked out for articles in Science Direct, articles in POS, POS, I like to call it POS, articles in the loads and loads of them that give you access to the full article. Some will ask you to go through your institution, okay? But however, if you take the very title and bring it to Google Scholar usually have almost everything. Hardly would you not find this in Google Scholar. The sweetness about that is Google Scholar already help you to reference it. So you're not bothering. Is it the author's name that comes first? Or is it the sister of the author? Or the wife of the author? Or is it the co-author? How do I do it all? How is it more than one article? Sorry about that. More than one author. How do I cite more than one author? Or how do I cite more than two authors? Of course, you know, for APA, if an author, as for the 7th edition, if authors are more than from 3 upward, you use a hall. ETAL after. So you say FA. If I were to be an author or a published author, so if you want to reference my work and we are about 3 upward, you say FA 8 Hall. So FA and the others. Okay, so that's it. So make sure you check with your institution the right one. All right, so now let's go further. We have looked at how to reference and how to style. The best, if you are still having difficulty doing your in-test citation, now this is the reference and not the in-test. In-test is as you go. Let's just go back and let me show you. In-test is, now I'm going to click on this now. In-test is as you go. As you're writing, you're citing, you're citing. Now, at the end of your work, that is where you put the list of the referencing, okay? The list of the references. That is all of the work that you used in your assessment or your assignment, okay? Now, the first thing you will get to see is the abstract. Abstract is the overview of the entire work. They just put little part of it from the beginning to the middle to the end to the conclusion of the work, and they put it. So in your computer, you go for that, so click. It says view at BMC. So you click on it and it takes you to the article. Accept. It takes you to the article. So now let's look at this abstract. It says, expectant parents worldwide have experienced changes in the way they give birth as a result of COVID-19, including restrictions relating to access to birthing units and the presence of birthing partners during the birth, and changes to birth plans. This paper reports the experiences of women in England. So you see, this is telling you what the background of the entire work is, what they've done. Now they began to state method. This is a quantitative work. This is not qualitative. You must know the difference. Quantitative because it's actually a study was done. There were participants involved. There were people involved that they took, they did a survey and people were involved. It's not qualitative where you're just writing, in general. Okay. So they have the background, they have the method, the result, and they have the conclusion. So all of this make up the abstract because it is an overview. Now let's look into the main work, which usually starts with an introduction. Now, if you look at this introduction, it says in January 2022, the first case of COVID-19 in the UK was confirmed. Now, there is a number there. Now, Ezra et al. has referenced someone. Now, what you do is once you see that number or once you see a name there, usually for me, for my assessment, I usually go with the names. If there are 2 authors, even if there are more than 2 authors, what I do, if there are 2 authors, I would say F.A. and Frances. In brackets, I'll put that in brackets if that's the end of the sentence. But whereby is the beginning of the sentence, I would not put F.A. and Frances in brackets. Okay? And if you start in the sentence, you say F.A. and Frances. F.A. a Hall. If you were to be more than 3 authors, F.A. a Hall. The only thing that will be in bracket will be the year. If it's the beginning of if you start in the sentence, okay? Now, if it's at the end of the sentence, FA and FA Hall would have a dot, the full stop sign, and a comma before the year. All of them will be in one bracket. Okay, bracket open, FA Hall, full stop, comma. As a matter of fact, to make it easier for you, I'd like you to check out www.Scriba. Scriba will give you all of the best way to reference the in-test citation. They tell you where to put this and where to put that. So check out Scriba. I'll also put the link in the description box, okay? So that this video is not too long, check out Scriba on how best to do your in-test citation. All right? Okay. Okay, so let's go forward. In January, the first case of COVID-19 in the UK was confirmed. There is something there that means Ezra is citing someone else. Ezra is trying to tell you that this idea read out is not originally theirs. They got it from this person. So if they got it from these people, if you like the idea and you want to confirm, what you should do is not read the whole thing and cite Ezra. If you cite Ezra a whole, you will be committing what they call mild plagiarism. Because the idea is not originally, Ezra a whole is not the original author, it's not the primary author, it's not the primary owner of this idea. Now, what you need to do if you like the idea, you would then click on the list of the reference given there and go check them out. Now, if you read further, it says, and on the 23rd of March 2020, a national lockdown was announced by the same people Ezra cited. Now, it said for this and two later national lockdowns in England. It said, and non-essential businesses were closed and people were required to stay at home, being permitted to leave for essential purposes only, e.g. medical workers. And then it says, see figure 1 for timeline and days of restrictions and guidelines. This idea, all of these ideas here, it means that Ezra also took the idea from someone else. But what Ezra et al. Has done was they paraphrased. They would not take the work like that as they saw it and bring it to their own. No, they would read it, understand, digest the idea, understand it, and then bring it out in their own words, which is called paraphrasing. Getting an idea and bringing it out in your own words to show that you understand what you have read, to show that you have your own understanding of what you have read. Okay, so let's move forward a bit. If you look at this very next page, you say throughout the pandemic, pregnancy and childbirth have been associated with anxiety and uncertainty for many pregnant women and their partners due in part to the I'll take that again. So throughout the pandemic, pregnancy and childbirth have been associated with anxiety and uncertainty for many pregnant women and their partners, due in part to the changing landscape of the healthcare system, increased demands on healthcare providers. Now you can see here that there are a list of references. This idea, they took it from 1, 2, 3, 4 persons or 4. So what you do, if you like the idea, you would then now go ahead to check out all of this, okay? So you would wonder, what did Ezra et al., what did they bring in? Why are they just citing everybody? Of course, they have the ideas there. If you see a part where there is a beginning of a sentence and ends with a full stop, and you're not seeing that any reference there was no inter-citation, then you begin to know that, oh, this is this author's idea. So that's fine to cite that person there. Now, on the other side, if you like the idea that, Ezra et al. Has put out, you like the idea, but they cited someone else, you can as well say Ezra et al. No, what you would do, if you like the idea that was put out, but they cited someone else in the inter-citation, you can cite that very person and say, as cited by Ezra et al. I hope this is clear. But you can get further clarification from Scriba, okay? Once you get Scriba, all of these ideas are well explained there, okay? How to do your inter-citation in the most professional way, so that you will not be caught up with the Academic Integrity Board, okay? I'm going to stop this video here and I'm going to hear your thoughts in the comment section. If there is anything you're not clear about, if there's anything you thought I should have added, please let me know. I am open to constructive criticism, okay? Let me know in the comment section. Let's chit chat, and I hope that you find this video very helpful. I hope that it helps you, and I hope that you've understood the different referencing styles and how best to avoid plagiarism. So guys, this is the end of this video. Just make sure that you share this video, like it, leave a comment, share it to your WhatsApp status. Someone might be struggling right now who don't know how to deal with, struggling with, plagiarism. They don't know how to reference. Share this with them, and I hope that you find it really helpful.